Whether you're currently renting or you own your own home, a lot of people ask me, how long is the process to buy a new house? It's definitely something you need to take into consideration if you're thinking of making a move. When I'm working with a new buyer, it doesn't matter who they are. Step number one is always get your financing figured out first. Hey, if you're paying cash, that's great. No questions asked. We've got you covered. We can get that taken care of. But if you have to get a loan, I want to make sure that you know exactly what you qualify for, exactly what you're comfortable with on a monthly payment, and what type of loan we're looking at to see if there's any specific criteria I need to be keeping an eye on when we're looking at the condition of homes. If you don't have your financing in order, you're also not going to be competitive in this market because things are really going over asking price and they're really going with multiple offers more times than I can count. So making sure you have your pre-approval in hand is the first step before I'll show you any house. Once we've got the financing figured out, it's time to start shopping. Looking online is obviously the best place to start looking at what you're interested in. I always tell everybody, don't let that be the only place that determines whether or not you want to see a house. Just because it doesn't have great photos doesn't mean it won't be a great property for you. So if you see something that kind of piques your interest, let's potentially set up a time to take a look. That's the second thing you have to take into consideration, setting up a time to take a look. If it's an occupied property, we have to schedule an appointment with the seller. Let's face it, evenings and weekends are usually the best time for most people to look at homes. You're off work, it's just easier. Guess what? Because it's the easiest way for everyone, sometimes that makes it a little bit more complicated. I encourage buyers all the time. If you have the opportunity to get off during the day, maybe take your lunch hour to go and take a look at a house, let's try and do that. Houses are getting multiple showings every day and they're getting multiple offers. So if you can give yourself an opportunity to be first in line to get inside that house, that's fantastic because it can give you a little bit of a competitive advantage. Now here's the other thing you got to take into consideration. Statistically, people typically view at least 10 homes before they make an offer on a house. That's changed a little bit in this market because you may view 10 homes and then make an offer on the property, but you may be one of 5 offers on that property and miss out. And you may view a couple more homes and make another offer on that property and maybe miss out again. You can't get frustrated with that going on. The inventory is just extremely limited. So you may even find yourself making an offer on the first property you look at because of the fact that, hey, there's not anything else out there. Let's try and get this done. I get it. Reading statistics online and understanding what people typically do should not impact you. If you find the house that you're ready to make an offer on, talk to your real estate agent and get the process started. All right, congratulations, you finally found the right house and your offer got accepted. What kind of timeline are we looking at right now? Probably 30 to 45 days as far as getting the financing and everything else taken care of. Once you get under contract, there's certain things that have to take place. You got to make the formal application for the mortgage. You got to get the inspections done. You need the appraisal. You need a title search and all this other stuff that goes on behind the scenes. 30 to 45 days is what I tell people is the typical amount of time that you need to have planned ahead for the amount of time it's going to take you to actually get to the closing table once your offer is accepted. Depending on the seller situation, it's going to kind of determine how quickly you get to move into your new home. We live in an area where it's typical for sellers to maintain possession on their property for 30 days after closing. That's not typical in all markets in all areas, but that's what we typically see here. So if you know that you're buying a house that's owner occupied and that seller has another house that they're waiting on to get possession for as well, it could be another month after closing before you get to move into your house. So I tell every buyer that I'm working with, if you're looking at occupied properties, best case scenario we're going to have is about 60 days after you make an offer, up to about 75 days after you make an offer before you can move in. If you're leasing a property, you need to make sure that you understand all of these time parameters and have that conversation before you start looking so you can properly prepare to give yourself enough time to buy a new house. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I hope you found this information useful. If you're thinking you're planning on making a move anytime soon, get with me and we can start putting a timeline together to make sure we make it as smooth and easy as possible.